So let's get start demo first. So this is one of the series of Azure function series where I just create a HTTP Azure function trigger function. So here you can see few of the endpoint actually we have created in HTTP trigger function, which have that create block. It is a post, and let me zoom in for you. So this is a create block, which is a post request, which is a delete block, so delete request, which is a read blocks, which is creating a get request, and this is the update block, which is a create a put request. But here's a one more tricks over here. So in this HTTP trigger function, I have create one another HTTP request function, which actually we have on a both HTTP verb like get and post together. So this is a flexibility of HTTP trigger function, which can allow multiple HTTP verb with together. So that we can learn over here. So let me see how actually executing all things. So quickly you can run these things in our Postman, but yeah, I'll show you in our Visual Studio HTTP trigger client as well. So I have I have just created these few HTTP request over here with using that HTTP client, right? Visual Studio also provide these options, so don't worry about that. I'll show you how we can do that. So first, it is a a create block, like it is a post request. So once I click hit, so it is creating, and see now I'm getting the result, and also you're able to see result appearing in here, right? It is starting executing, the function is executing, and finally it's returning here. And then if I try to send the delete one, so also you are getting our request result over here, and same things the process of delete one, and you are getting the delete request. And then finally, as of now, yeah, there is a no implementation. Simply we just create a endpoint and process that request. So don't worry about that. In upcoming session we'll do that, that one. So get request, so see get request also proceed and get the result same. This is at you know two actions endpoint, right? So it's actually we provide one and get request by passing that query parameter. So let me pass that query parameter. So I am just passing the query parameter as a this like .NET real world example. So we can over here see this is the output of .NET real world example as a pass a query parameter. So you are able to see I just pass this over here as a query parameter name as this, and then also same endpoint we are using as a post, uh, which we can send as a in a body parameter. So let me send this guy. So once you send, now see I'm getting that request, and this request is over here as a post parameter, right? And then finally it is the update one. So this is simple update. So once I click the send request, you are able to get that request, send request, and also you're able to see the logs and all, right? So these all everything will implement and show you from the scratch, like how we can start for Azure function. And yeah, and let's moving implementation. So before implementation, I'm especially recommend if you first time visit my channel, so go to my channel, and here you can get many stuff for that Azure function and other .NET Core API, Blazor application, Angular application. As a full stack developer, you can get everything from in this channel. So yeah, so let's start. So first what I need to do, simply I just need to create a go to Visual Studio, open your Visual Studio, and here I have to looking for a function. So let me create a new project, and in your Visual Studio I'm just using Visual Studio 2022. So once I choose that Azure, so you will get this Azure function, so Azure function template. So what you need to do, simply next, and you can just write it function. For example, it is a HTTP trigger function, right? Function app. And let me create a next and choose. See, here's the some tricks actually. See, there's a few things over here that version like it have on a .NET 6, 7, 8, whatever you have. But one thing if you observe over here that I want to discuss, like see, .NET 6 has a two options, like one is a long-term supports, and it is a without isolation version, and second one is a isolation version. So as of now I will create a without isolation version, but yeah, in upcoming session we'll use that isolation version. But other version we don't have any without isolation version as of now, right? So what are they actually, we can understand. So first I will just create a without isolation version. So use the .NET 6, and you see there is a function, right? So once over click that functions options, there's a many options over here, right? So what I have to do in this session, will create an HTTP trigger function. So first we'll actually understand what is that HTTP trigger function. Then other function also will use, like there's a many things, like for example it's have a timer trigger function, if it has a service bus queue trigger, service bus topic trigger, so many things. So we'll do in this series and upcoming session. So as of now, what I have to choose, I have to choose the HTTP trigger function, right? And one more thing actually over here, that function authentication level, right? So authorization level, we have a 3 level. So that also I will show you, like once it's deployed, so how is working our authentication, how we can handle that authentication. So as of now I'll just keep it anonymous, but yeah, upcoming session will handle authentication part as well in the function level. So let me create. So once it's created, now see, this is a folder structure, or project structure actually has been created. There are few things actually they have created, like there's dependencies over there, project properties over there, github ignore file, and this is the main things actually, function, right? And one more thing actually, host json and local json. So before proceeding this file structure and all, you have to understand few things about that function, what is that Azure function and all. So I'll give that little bit idea, like what is Azure function. So an Azure HTTP trigger function is a serverless computing features provided by the Azure function. It's allow you to execute your code in response to HTTP request. When a request made to the HTTP endpoint associate with your function, automatically Azure function invoke and pass to HTTP request details, right? So this is actually way working of the HTTP trigger function. And one more thing actually, it is few benefits over there also. So I am not going to the all benefits, but I'll talk few things. Like first is actually the serverless architecture. So this is actually serverless architecture support. For example, Azure function abstract away the underlying infrastructure, allowing you to focus solely on writing the code for your application logic without worrying about the managing server. So you don't need to worry about that managing servers and all for this Azure trigger function or Azure function. And other benefit is scalability. So this is a most important part of this Azure function. So it is not only just HTTP trigger functions, all the Azure function actually, these all the benefits you can get it. Like Azure function automatically scale to handle verifying level of the traffic. You don't need to provision or manage server to handle spike on the request. So these are actually the main benefits, but there is a many others benefits, like cost efficiency, event driven, easy integration, and rapid deployment. So those are also actually part of the benefit. So let's start for this structure and all. So if you see the property, so it is simply, it's have that launch settings, so which actually the support what kind of setup while you're running your application, so that we can store in this profile and all, right? And then other is a dependency. So what are the dependencies, we can keep it over here, right? And then this is a actually the normal git ignore file, so I'm not going to that. So this git ignore file actually basically ignore what we have to push the code, and without what we have to exclude, right? Include and exclude. So that mechanism actually using that github, this is not important for this year, but yeah. Now moving forward the function, right? So this is actually main function file, function.cs file. Here actually be managing our request, like whatever the request and all we can manage. So as of now, you can see this is a one function by default they creating, and here they creating the two STT verb actually allow in this particular request. Like so they allow the get request, they allow the post request, also you can just allow the multiple things with this one request. So that is actually flexibility provide that Azure function. And now one more thing actually I want to tell, like see, there's a function, whatever function you want to mention, like you can just add. And we have actually we don't have only just stick for this one function at a time. We can create a multiple function as I show you in a demo, right? So if you see the demo, like see there's a multiple function we have to create it, right, in this one file. So that also I will tell you how we can do that. And apart from that, what I need to tell, like over see, it is just creating a static class function, right? It is not restrict also that static class. We can change it to static class as the normal class, right? We can remove that also, that I will tell you. And what else? Okay, see, this is a response actually return method. So we can simply return action result, and whatever you want you can just simply return. And inside this, see, this is a main important part. So if you creating a http trigger function, so they will actually introduce it is a http trigger function as an attribute, and inside we have some parameter, right? So this is a one parameter which we can handle, like okay, it is a what kind of authorization level you are trying to use. Like so as of now there is a no authentication, so that's why I'm using anonymous. But yeah, there is a some others type also which will show, right, in this while creating this, right? See, there's a many type. So everything we will use in upcoming session. And this is the second parameter which we can mention, okay, what kind of http verb actually we are trying to add in this request. And then finally route. So basically route actually define actually where you have to move. So it's most probably we have to set as a null, but yeah, in upcoming session if required we can implement that. And then finally, this is actually whatever request you have to send, so you will get over inside this http request context, right? So that you will get. And finally, one more level over here, like you can add by default, actually they providing ilogger as a injected over here inside this method parameter. But yeah, we'll do inject in our constructor level, and we can use on the whole over the all the all the other endpoints, right? So is we can add it directly as well. Now also this log, actually see this log we can implement. So we have to add the logs, right? And then see, in this request, if the somebody passes a query parameter, so we can get like that request.query, and get that whatever that query name you want to pass, you can get it like that. And then also if somebody send as a body, right, so you can get the body request as well. So see how we can get it, the body request dot body. So whatever body you are sending from the http request via the http request, you can get using that body, and you can read it as async and get this body. And finally you can deserialize. As of now we it's have deserialized by dynamic, but yeah, you can deserialize your own property, right? Suppose you can create your employee object, or you can create product object, and whatever object you are sending, you can deserialize based on this that. And finally, it's just for the demonstration perspective, the default template they provide, like okay, they extract the name from that data, like the body as well as that name. And then finally they just put it over here, right? So just simply they put some condition over there, and then just pass it to whatever the response. See, whatever response I have created, simply I pass it over here and get it back to response, right? So what I need to do first, let me I'll show you like how is this working default one, then we will modify as well. So there's a two way actually. You can use as a postman or other tools which you can use for processing this request. But yeah, I will use one as the inbuilt function which will provide Visual Studio. Let me go to that views, go to that windows, and if you go to this endpoint explorer, right? So this is that endpoint explorer which is newly introduced over Visual Studio 2022. I will use this guy. Go to that guy, and once you add, so see whatever endpoints you have just created automatically pop up over here, right? So it is tell okay, there is a two endpoint, what is the get endpoint, what is the post endpoint. So how we can generate this request? So right click on that and go to the generate request. Once you generate request, automatically create a http client file for you the testing purpose. So right click on that. Once you get it, see automatically they adding that http address, right? Whatever our listening point, so that is creating, and they creating actually that get and passing over there. And whatever our endpoints, right? So this is our endpoints like API function one. So this is a function one they already created. And similar you can just create this one also, right click on that generate request, so automatically they also will be created, right? After that you have to do some few modification, right? So see, they just created simply just uh, create a request, but if you want to pass some uh, query parameter, so you have to do that. So for example, suppose I pass it to query parameter, for example dot net real world example, right? World example, and once I hit the request, it will not work. Why? I'll tell you. So see, no connection found is that because so I'm just trying to request these things, but your app is not running as of now, right? See, my app is not running. So what I need to do, simply I need to run my application. My function should be run first. Now my function is running. See, my function is running, and this is a one endpoint, right? And which we support this get and post both. So what I'm trying to do as of now, I'm just posting the get request uh, with this query parameter, right? So which I passing the query parameter. Once I send request, definitely I have to get that response. Now see, I'm getting the response, right? And if you go to back your console, you will get that request, that log as well, actually how is it working. Like see, executing function, the printed log, and then executed your function. That means it is end of your function. So like this way. And also what I need to do, I have to pass the body, right? How we can pass the body? Simply you can just pass the body like that. So create a body over here and just pass that your JSON object over there. For example, ID is 1, and then pass to name, and the name would be again dot net real world example. And once you set your body, just pass it over here. Now see, it is also executed. And if you go back to over here, so you will get this, another function is executed. See, this is executed, this is done, right? Like this way you can just test it also in your function. Now let start to implementation. Like see, which we shown is a demo. We have to create that single endpoint, right? So that how we can do that. Let us start that. So what I need to do first let me make it to this as a two actions, right? Because this function make it a two actions, that's why I call it as a two actions. And here they will support get and post, that is fine, that is expected. And what I need to do, simply I just to change to some log messages over here. For example, the two actions process a request, right? And here what I need to do, this is get and post, right? So simply whatever data we are getting from here, so I need to pass it. Let me remove this guy. And this is a query parameter, so I just pass it to query parameter like that over here. Simply just I have to make it like, if it is query parameter is null, then if it is null, then we have to pass that body parameter, right? Body request. If it is done, then simple pass then query parameter, right? So that's why actually I'm handling. But yeah, in real world actually you can use whatever your logic, so that we can use. And in upcoming session also we'll implement in real world example, so don't worry about that. But as of now it is a first session of the Azure function, so you have to know like how we can working and how is flow actually working of the Azure function. So like that, see, the query parameter we are getting, we simply checking. If it is null, then we are converted our body parameter here, and they pass it over here, that's it. And what I need to do, simply I just have to log, uh, like after this we have to log, like okay, what we are trying to output, right? So that we are trying to log, right? So this is one we have done. Now what I need to do, I have just create multiple trigger function as well, like how we can do that in particular function. So what I need to, let me collapse that. And after this function, what I need to do, simply if I want to create another trigger function, so let me create first that function name. So this is the function name I just created. For example, I want to read the blocks, right? So after that, what I need to do, simply I have to create that particular method, right? So Let me create that method, simple that method, right? So is it, let me fix that issue first. Okay, so I just created this and bring back that. Okay, this is that. Yeah, so I just create a method, right, a static method over here. And here what I'm trying to do, simply I just, as a parameter http request parameter and logs, and inside that log it is a get. See, I just pass it as a get request. Suppose for example I want to return that logs, right, the list of that thing. So simply we can just create on logs, and after that again we have to suppose this request will get that body, right? I have to pass that body, so I just retrieve the body, and further I can process using this body in on our logic, right? And simply the result I have to store as a result over here, and then simple that response, right? Let me back to response over here as a return type as a okay object result, and pass that response. And additionally we can add that logs. So let me add this logs, right? So now this endpoint also has been created for get endpoint, for read logs. Similar other endpoints I can create it, so quickly I can just copy paste. So I am not going to details then, because it is similar endpoint, right? So only we have to change the, this function name and this endpoints, right? That we have to do that simply. So what I need to do, we have already we have created that function. So let me copy paste over here. See, I just create a another function and create that one, and bring back that similar method over here, and create a log and get the body from that body request, and simply response and response back, right? There is a no implementation. And similar I have to just do update delete as well, right? So let me get this code and paste over here, right? So now I have that see, update also sim. I just put that put http verb, similar things we have to done, and also we have delete, right? So that also have done, right? So everything is done, right? And now let me try to run. Stop that, save it, run it. So now see, let me zoom in for you. Now everything is created, like this is a post endpoint, this is a delete endpoint, and this is read endpoint, and this is a put endpoint, update endpoint. And now this actually supported both, right? So like this we have shown as a demo. So now what I need to do, simply I have to just pass, I have to go back to our, http client request file over here. So previously we just call this endpoint, right? So let me call again, and now see it is 404, because now I have changed this function name, right? So it is not function one. So that's why I'm showing you. See, the function name got changed, like create block, delete block, read blocks, and two actions, and upload block, right? So those I have to edit, right? So we have to change like that. Okay, first up we just trying to create block, so go back to here. So this is that actually two functions. So let me call this two functions over here. First two functions, let me change these two functions, and also this is the two functions, right? And now so once you send the request, now see we are getting that response is a query parameter we passing over here, right? Is a passing the query parameter as a .NET real world example. Same thing you are able to see over here, the data, the response over there, right? Similar, if I pass the as a body, so that body also should be available over here, right? So this is body is there. Also if you see the logs, you will get that logs. And similar, all the endpoint we have to get it, is we have to write it. So again, if you want to uh, you don't want to manual, so what you need to do, uh, also you can do manual as well. So I'll show you in starting like how we can do automatic. But yeah, if you want to manual, so simple, what you can do, similar get and port you can just edit. But yeah, go to that others window, go to endpoint explorer. All the endpoints will be available over here. So these two actually we have done, that two actions is done. So we'll generate this guy. So this guy generated, this guy also need to generate, this guy also need to generate, right? Those are thing is generated. What I need to do, simply I have to pass the body. So let me pass the body and let me hit the enter. Now see, I'm getting the data, and if I see, the create block has been calling, right? And now similar call for delete and pass it to that. Now we are getting a 200. Okay, and go back to your console, you're getting the data like delete is call and similar to put endpoint. So once I hit enter, now see, I'm getting the 200 and I'm getting the update result. So like this actually you can just start your functions, right? And many things we'll do in this series, like how we can implement that database and all, how we can push the messages and all using the HTTP trigger function. So those are things we'll cover in our next upcoming session, but this is the initial level so that you can understand actually what is that HTTP trigger function and how is that working, right? So that's all for this session. Have a nice day and don't forget to like, subscribe and share.